and get past announcements because it's at 11:45 and we're just starting, which is okay because my talk is shorter today, so I hope my talk will be awesome. Let's start with some breaths, get out of our heads. So three deep breaths and some noise on the way out. And two more nice deep breaths. One more nice, really deep breath, and I invite us to really exhale on the way out. Oh, you missed the breathing. I'm teasing. Last week I was busting Jan's chop and telling him to open up his body right in the middle of the talk. It's whoa. So yeah, it's fun. We're very down to earth here. So it's interesting how I get title talks. You know, sometimes I'm asking on purpose. Okay, what's next? What do I talk about now? I mean, we're really always talking about the same thing in a bazillion different ways, because there's only one thing to talk about, and that's the truth of us, and that we're innocent in our essence. But the human being, you know, one of the mantras we've used here since before I was a minister is like coming here to celebrate our divinity while exploring or discovering our humanity. And that's part of this. So today's talk is called Colors in the Wind. Now, I've done a lot of different talks on Native American stuff, and a lot of different talks on animal medicines and being able to understand what the gifts are that our creature brothers and sisters have to offer. So this is a little bit of that flavor, because I call this the Pocahontas song, because it came from the Disney movie Pocahontas. And for me, it's always been a magical song because it brings to me that relationship with the earth that I have and that I want and that I long for. But we're going to play with this in a couple different ways today. So first, I'm going to read through lyrics, and I don't always do that, but I want to play with these lyrics, and later we're going to get this song, a treat, being sung by Miss Jerry. So this is Colors of the Wind, and it starts out with, you think you own whatever land you land on. You think the earth is just a dead thing you can claim. But I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, and has a name. You think the only people who are people are the people who look and think like you. But if you walked the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew you never knew. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon? Have you ever asked a grinning bobcat why he grins? Can you sing with all the voices of the mountains, and can you paint with all the colors of the wind? Come run the hidden pine trails of the forest. Come taste the sun-sweet berries of the earth. Come roll in all the riches all around you, and for once, never wonder what they're worth. The rainstorm, the river, are my brothers. The heron and the otter are my friend. We are all connected to each other in a circle, in a hoop that never ends. Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon? Or let the eagle tell you where he's been? Can you sing with all the voices of the mountain? Can you paint with all the colors of the wind? How high does the sycamore grow? If you cut it down, you're never going to know. Then you'll never be able to hear the wolf cry to the blue corn moon. You'll never know whether we are white or copper-skinned unless you sing with all the voices of the mountains and paint with all the colors of the wind. You can own the earth, and still all you own is earth until you learn to paint with all the colors of the wind. So breathing into the simple lyrics and knowing that it's going to come out so differently in a song. And going through this, so for me, what this song has been for me, especially when I became a property owner, and I would always sing this song, even for the longest time before I was a property owner, but I had to sing it more when I became a property owner. When I cut the grass, I sing this song. So I know that this isn't mine. I'm just here to take care of these things. I'm a steward. Husbandry means that I'm taking care of the land. But as I look at these lyrics and really listen to what she was saying and what we believe on a metaphysical level, you think you own whatever land you land on. And it's like, and we are constantly using the term own it all the time. And there's not been one time in my entire life that I've said to somebody, own it, that I meant their stuff. Or did I mean the ground they walked on? Matter of fact, I've had probably more arguments with people and friends and people I've cared for about what they thought they owned in this world when it came to stuff and property and the seeking of wanting to own stuff. That's why when I bought my house a while ago, and I'm already a renter again, so they're irrelevant, but in that moment it was really important for me that I got that first line so that I didn't really think I owned this land, because that land that my little parcel was on with that little house had been there for millions and millions of years before me. And all the different things that are going on millions of years after I'm gone, and that house is disintegrated to nothing. And I want to say that was mine. How? Really? It's like, and to get that perspective for a minute and go really macro, to humble ourselves in that arrogance of, this is my land. Rose and I went to do something spontaneous Friday night, and it's 10:30. I'm like, hey, let's go to the beach. Really? I'm like, yeah, let's just go. And we spent more time looking for a public access, because all the hotels and things have just taken the shoreline. God, I'm going to choke me up. That I roamed freely as a kid. And then had to find a place to finally park, and it still cost me $2. But at least I knew I wouldn't get towed. Yeah, right. But it's like that, and I haven't even gotten past the first line yet of, you think you own whatever land you land on, and how many things that have happened in this world revolve around that line, and how many boundaries and wars and fights have revolved around that line. And the wisdom of our brothers and sisters from all these different cultures that know we don't own anything except how we feel and how we act towards that land. Take nothing but memories, leave nothing but footprints. The earth is just a dead thing that you can claim, but I know every rock and tree and creature has a life, has a spirit, has a name. I love crystals. I hang out with my crystal buddies all the time. They help me. And on the metaphysical level of it, I can get into the frequency game with all of us and talk about how its frequency and my frequency meld, and now we have a new frequency, and it can help transform and step up just like an electrical circuit breaker. I tell you what, right in that soundboard right there, we have resistors, and we have something called a step-up transformer. And it's going to take that electricity that just got stepped down so it didn't blow out this other part of the circuit and step it back up. Well, crystals do that for us too. Rocks and trees and creatures, all of it do that for us too, because they all have a vibration. They all have a different way of working with us, and that's how the magic of that medicine works. And by virtue of this song, the singer, the person, Pocahontas, knows that truth. She knows that within every rock and tree and creature is life, is a spirit, and it has a name. The only people are people are the ones who look and think like you. How many times as a human being have we just run into that line, and we don't even have to talk about the critters yet? You know, with, well, if you looked at the video, I'm a big dork, and I've had kids, I've watched Pocahontas a bazillion times. In that part of the song, it says, so you think the only people that are people are the people who look and think like you, but if you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew. So let's break down that for a moment, because in the video, the guy's going to shoot the bear, and then she stops him, and she sees that the bear's got 2 cubs over in the bush. But you'll know things you never knew. How do I know what I don't know if I don't know it, that I don't know it? And it's not necessarily denial, and it could be like, but this is the kind, Edward Laughing Fox said, never judge another until you walk 2 weeks in their moccasins. And that's where we got that. Don't judge a guy until you walk a mile in his shoes. It wasn't even a mile. It was 2 weeks. They really did it. Because how can I know you in your life if I only even walk a mile? It's like if you took the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew that you didn't never know. So as I'm looking at all the dynamics of the earth and the medicines and the creatures and looking at this, have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon? And what does that mean for you? Have you ever asked the grinning bobcat why he grins? Like, I don't want to talk to a bobcat. It's like, but have you ever looked at an animal and wondered what they were smiling about? What are they seeing? Have you ever gotten down on the ground and looked at life from their perspective of your cat or your dog? And just like, I need to cut the grass. It's like right here now. It's like there's so many different perspectives that when we take the footsteps of another stranger, that I never knew I didn't know that. When I hear brothers and sisters tell me stories of their lives and things that I didn't even fathom, even though I'm not stupid and not really naive, even though I maintain my innocence and it may look like naivete, there's someone inside me like, I knew that. I'm like, okay, well, I wasn't paying attention to it. I was thinking innocently. I was feeling innocently. I'm aware of the yuck in the world. But there's things that I never knew. I never knew when it comes to how some people have just walked their walk and had to deal with stuff. And which brings me to the key point. Can you sing with all the voices of the mountain? And can you paint with all the colors of the wind? So as you were looking around all these different nuances and understanding the fact of walking in somebody else's shoes and looking at every single being, whether I judge it as a being or not, every rock, tree, and creature on this planet, that it has a life and it has a purpose and it has a name. Just because you don't know it doesn't mean it doesn't have its name, have a name. And just because you give it a meaning doesn't mean that's what it is to it. Now, can you look at all these wonders and sing with all the voices of the mountain? Can you look at every single nuance of life and sing your song with their voice? We did a few talks where I talked about appreciating the you and me and being able to do a walkabout in each other's bodies and just see who that Tammy person is and who that Chalet person is and who the different selves are, because we're just reflections of each other. Can you sing with all the voices of the mountain as Mark? So many times we want to change ourselves. We want to change, we want to change, we want to change. I don't like this about myself. I want to change, I want to change, I want to change. And I'm like, leave it alone. Who you are is who you are. You can change behaviors. You can change negative thought patterns. But why are we trying to change who we are? I like who I am. I have got some serious OCDs and eccentricities, man. And I am no longer going to try to change them. It's 54 years later. What the hell am I thinking? I have Rain Man within me. And that's what I call him. He likes straight lines. And if he gets in an argument with you, your kitchen will be spotless. You can tell I haven't had any arguments in my house for a while. But it's understanding that, can I sing with all the voices of my mountain? Can I paint with all the colors of my wind? Can I walk this life and knowing that all these different things are going on in me, just like they're going on in you? It's like, I will recite my favorite line. My books are out there, Wisdom Tree, $10. Feel free to buy one. The favorite line in that book for me, because it's all about wisdom was thought to be big and grand and ostentatious, and you had to be around for hundreds and thousands of years to be wise. And that this man in this journey sees this tree at the end of the forest, and he thinks it's the wisdom tree because it's big and broad and been standing there alone, and it ends up being this rinky-dink little tree. And one of the key lines in it is, so judge not my size, nor the color of my leaves, and here's the clincher, nor compare me by measures of what others believe. And this is the one I'll keep throwing at people forever, because this is my biggest line in the book. And there's plenty of lines that fill my heart and I love. But the compare me by measures of what others believe is what we do to each other and what we do to ourselves. Debbie and I were talking about this just a little bit on a subject when it comes to what we both deal with differently with having ex-in-laws and kids or grandkids that have to go back and forth. And I'm like, wow, if I were to compare myself by virtue of what Stephanie and her family and all there believe, we're just two different people. We're different folk. But I don't want to compare myself by measures of what they believe, but I don't want to compare them by measures of what I believe either, because they will fail every single time. If I measure you, if I compare you by measures of what I believe, you're done. You failed. But Mark, I just woke up. You didn't do it right. I wake up like this. You woke up like this. You're done. We're wrong. It's simple and ridiculous, but I'm saying when we do that line, and this is where that line about can you walk the footsteps of a stranger and learn things you never knew. That's your ability. That's your key. That's your doorway. That's your keyhole in to be able to sing with all the voices of the mountains and paint with all the colors of their wind and their voices. Can I do a walkabout in Scott's body and write a poem as if I were Scott, because I'm a writer? That's me painting with the colors of my wind, singing with the voices of my mountains. Can I do it in Jerry? Can I do it in Margie? Can I walk around? Forgot your name, man. John? I knew that, actually. Can I walk in John's world and get to know him more and then bring that into my own song and sing with his voice? You guys understand what I'm meaning when I'm saying this, because this talk wasn't even about Native American stuff. It's how I was making my point. It's the way that she sings it in the movie, in the cartoon, in the depiction of this lesson for us that we are all connected to this circle, to this hoop that never ends. It's continuous. And there's going to be somewhere along the lines that I need to learn how to sing with Tammy's voice, and I need to learn how to paint with Denise's. I need to know this if I want to truly say that and believe, and not just say it up here, yes, we're all one. I'm part of a community that's all one. Really, what do you know about them? Nothing. Well, why not? I'm afraid to look in their eyes. I'm afraid to hear what they're singing about, because it might be different. I might start comparing it to what I believe, so I'm just going to shut it out. But I thought you were one. I am. In my mind. It's like to dare ourselves. It's like I am, one of the things that I wrote in this new updated letter, I'm really proud of the community before me, because I know some of the exercises I've designed here for Sunday mornings. Sometimes I'll do a talk and sometimes we'll do an exercise. And I'm like, I know some of them have been challenging. I am a workshop co-facilitator with these two people for 25 years, separately together, all kinds of different stuffs. We don't really let you off the hook. But this is here so that we can do this and look into each other's eyes and know we're safe and know we're home, no matter what's going on. That you can walk in my footsteps for a minute and not feel pity for me, not feel empathy for me, but feel joy, or be with me in my grief. Oh, he's grieving. Let me hug him. Let me be the joy reminder for him to be the light at the end of his or her tunnel. Let's walk in the footsteps of each other for a moment, and let's do it on purpose and know that we are walking in our own footsteps. But how do I know what life looks? Man, our lives are just this experience that we have in here anyway. It's like when we talk about metaphysics and people get like, well, it's all an illusion. I'm like, ouch, that hurt. Felt real to me. And that dance that people want to go back in the 3D world It's like, well, yeah, that's kind of an illusion. I created that experience, but that did happen. I did show up in a physical body on purpose to experience touch. And sometimes it feels good, and sometimes it doesn't. That's the one that I create on the inside. And then what happens after that experience of, bumped my pinky, what happens later? Did I laugh about it, or did I go on and on and on and create a terrible, no good, rotten day and tell all of you about the victimhood I experienced today when I bumped my pinky? And I used the most ridiculous scenarios on purpose because it's really that ridiculous, all of it. And I'll never make fun of anybody's pain. I'll be there with you. And then after we get past the grief, then we'll jump back into the spiritual body and we'll make fun of our pain and laugh at it and know that, ha ha ha, look at that illusion that we created within ourselves to dive us deeper in that pool, to dive us all the way through so that we can pop out and find more of these wonders, more of the wonders. I mean, how high does the sycamore grow? If you cut it down, then you'll never know. So what does everybody visualize when that line happens? Like, how high is that tree going to go, right? That's such a metaphoric statement. It's got nothing to do with the sycamore tree. It's like, how many times if I cut myself down, and I don't even mean cut myself down, self-deprecate, I mean literally cut my growth, and I'm like, well, how did I know how high I was going to grow? But I cut my own self down. And say it was a dream I had. Say it was an endeavor that you had. Say, Jerry and I were talking about learning how to play guitar before. How do I know how high I'll grow if I cut myself down the first day? I'll never know. I'll never know what my potential was. And that's what these lyrics are leading to. It's like, how high can we grow? How high can we grow? Are you willing to be able to let yourself grow higher and higher by being able to sing their song? Can I beat on the drum the way you're beating it? Can I tap into you enough to tap into your beat, or to listen to it enough to feel it in me as it were my own? And then walk away knowing that she's not with me because her beat is in my soul. And then I write a poem later and I got the beat in my soul and I'm singing with her voice. I don't know why this makes me so mushad, but it's really all I want for me in this world, for us, is to be able to do this. And this song has always meant so much more to me because I think my soul got it in a different way than just the Pocahontas song or just the nice way to treat the earth and to be stewards and the word husbandry and to appreciate their animal brothers and sisters. It wasn't even about them, and it is all at the same time. It's like to be able to roll in all the riches all around me and for once never wonder what they're worth. That doesn't just mean in the pine forest in the literal sense of the term she was talking in the song. Can I roll in all the riches around me and not have to put a value on it? Well, what is this worth to me? What are they giving to me? What do I get out of the game? Can I just roll in it? When you were a little kid rolling around in leaves, were you thinking about anything? Did you think about your bank account? Do you think about how these rolling in the leaves can benefit me somehow right now? No, you just rolled around in it and had a blast. And we're laughing and giggling. Can you do that with each other? Can we roll around as if we were all a pile of leaves in the fall on a beautiful day, having a blast and knowing that by doing that, I'm getting to walk the footsteps of the stranger and I'm getting to learn things I never knew that I didn't even know. And then I'm going to be able to hear that wolf cry to the blue corn moon and what that represents in me, knowing that that wolf in me is baying to the moon and celebrating. Because when she's talking about the wolf crying to the new corn moon, that's a happy time. That's a celebration. That's harvest. That's abundance for the people. That's a moment where everybody knows we are taken care of. And that's all sung in the wolf's baying to the moon in that moment. Can we do that with ourselves? Can we, even in the moment of scarcity in our lives, bay to the moon about the abundance in our lives all at the same time, knowing that for as many people I have in my life that is abundant, so am I. And to just remember that. and for all the abundances we have, and for every brother or sister of mine that's got a boo-boo in their heart. So do I. We're that connected. But I can love and love and love, and we can heal each other's boo-boos. That's simple. Just looking at each other's eyes. Just being there for each other. Just no big words, no big metaphysical things, and I'll go there many more times in my life. Nothing about frequency, sound, and movement. Just love. And being able to look into a brother and sister's eyes and say, I'll walk in your footsteps. I will. Ahom Takwiyas, and so it is.